Klay Thompson unfollowed the Warriors, and he removed all Warriors content. So the pictures of him winning the championship
2024
recently, he archived it or deleted it. We have no idea.
Definitely archived.
It seems like he might be heading elsewhere. I think the Warriors are cooked. It doesn't matter what they do. If they let Klay Thompson walk, I think they still have limited assets to go make a move. If they keep Klay Thompson, you now have a team and a core that just can't win a championship at this stage in their career. Steph is regressing somewhat. Second half of the season wasn't too good. Draymond's still an elite defender, but offensively, he has a lot that is left to be desired. And then Klay Thompson, he can get into these cold slumps where he's really inefficient. I don't think he's going to be back in Golden State. I would love for him to retire there because he's built a dynasty with them there. But I just find it hard to believe that the contractual number that they are willing to offer him, he will feel valued by and will return to Golden State.
I don't know what his contract's going to be, truthfully. Because if you're a team, how much are you willing to give Klay Thompson?
$20 million.
Yep.
That's probably the max I would give him also.
Would if you're the Warriors, would you do that, though?
Yeah, I would give him 20. I would do that. Out of respect for a guy who was a critical part of us winning championship.
You said 2 years, 20 mil?
2 years, 40 mil.
40,
okay.
yeah.
But Drew, to that point, you're paying at that point for past production. And that's the number one way to screw yourself.
I'll say this. Not this season. Last season. We saw him put probably his best regular season that we've seen out of Klay Thompson, right? Scoring-wise, efficiency-wise. I believe he shot a three ball at 41, 42%. This past season, similar efficiency from the field, but at the same time, we didn't see that same level of efficiency from three. I believe it's 38%, which for Klay Thompson, that's not that good when you've become and held the standard to probably the second best shooter we've ever seen. So for that, also, you have your lows be as low as they are. I think that this season was a tough one for him to be a free agent. But if he was getting a contract off last season, if he was a free agent, I think he does get paid. Because I think he put together a very firm regular season, but just wasn't that great in the playoffs. In this season, had his moments where he was unplayable, was not great as a defender, and then on top of it, was uber inefficient. 0 for 10 in his last game of the season, that's a rough way to go out. But I don't think that he's completely done. I still think that he has use for a team as a floor spacer. If you want him to be your primary defender, those days are behind him. He's no longer in a position where he can be one of your best perimeter defenders. That's done. But as a floor spacer, as a three-point shooter, he can still provide value to a team. I don't believe it will be with Golden State. I do believe that Golden State should show him the courtesy to at least give him any type of offer because, again, he means a lot to that franchise. But I think he goes to a team that needs spacing, whether that is the Cleveland Cavaliers, whether that is the Orlando Magic. Those would be the two teams that I look at and think, hey, this could be a strong place for him to go to. Because if he goes to the Cavs, now you go and you can potentially think about playing him as that three. You get even more spacing. You don't necessarily need him to be this overwhelmingly great defender because you have a bunch of defending on that team as is. You just add another floor spacer on that to help out Donovan. But when you go to Orlando, to me, that's the perfect fit. Already a great defensive team. They just need spacing desperately.
Bob Myers is a smart man. He got it out at the right time because this is a decision. If I was sitting in that Warriors GM chair, that I wouldn't want to have to make this decision because you have Klay Thompson, who's going to go down as one of the best Warriors in NBA history. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. He's going to be regarded as one of the 2 or 3 best shooters in NBA history. But on the other hand, you have Steph Curry, who, in my opinion, I still think Steph Curry, although he struggled in the second half of the season, I still think Steph for maybe 1 or 2 years, I don't know how long, can still be the best player on a championship team. I think his offensive load this season, which I'm sitting in Riv's chair, so maybe I'm just getting some of Riv's vibes right now, but his offensive load at 30, was he 35 years old, 36?
He's up there. He might be 37.
30? No, he's not 37. There's no way.
He's 36.
36 gonna be.
He turns 37 March 14th.
Oh, okay. So he's entered his 36 season.
He's 36.
To have that type of offensive load, I think it would have been normal for basically any player in the NBA that your numbers are going to fall off, right? Even the best of the best, even though LeBron James might be that one exception there.
Thanks for respecting him.
But if you're the Warriors, you need a legitimate number 2 next to Steph Curry at this point. It can't be a Klay Thompson number 2. It can't even be a 2022 Jordan Poole number 2. Like, you have to get a legitimate number 2, like Kevin Durant has Devin Booker, or if you see it vice versa. You need a type of player that is a borderline top 10 player for the Golden State Warriors if you actually want to win a championship. With that being said, they just don't have the assets to pull something like that off. There's not going to be a top 10 player in free agency that you could go out there and actually acquire. And I don't think they have the trade assets to go and get that top 10 level player. And if you do somehow manage to pull off a trade to get a top 10 player, your entire depth is gone. Kuminga, Moody, all the role players who've been able to play well, the rookies you got, you could guarantee that probably 80% of them are gone, and now the rest of the starting 5 plus the bench is really in question entering next season. That's been one of their biggest issues over the Steph Curry era, is being able to survive when Steph Curry is off the court. They did a decent job this past season, but then you saw the starting 5 just wasn't good enough. So for Klay Thompson, his upcoming contract, the Warriors have 2 different paths. They can sit here and kind of just be a complacent franchise. And they can say, you know what, Klay Thompson, you've been great for us this entire time. You're a Warrior legend. Here's 2 years, $40 million. Let's come back. Let's ride this until the wheels fall off. Or I think they could be a more aggressive franchise. And what I would do is go out and actually try to make a swing. You got to go out there and give Steph one more opportunity to chase a championship. If you just bring back Klay Thompson and you're more or less running back the same starting 5, I know in the second half of the season when Draymond, all of the suspensions got cleared up, Steph was healthy and everyone was on the court, you could look at a lot of different stats and win-loss record and net rating. They looked pretty damn decent, but you're going up against a Western Conference that, shit, I mean, you probably got 7-8 teams just off the top of my head that going into next season, I feel more confident about I feel more confident about them than the Golden State Warriors. So it's a tough decision to make because this is your brother. This is a dude that's done so much for your franchise, but you also have to, face reality and say his best days are behind him. And if we want to give Steph one more chance, it's probably not with Klay Thompson.
There are 5 teams that I want Klay Thompson to potentially join. Number 1 is the Orlando Magic. I think they need the spacing. It gives them a veteran player to fill up that shooting guard spot next to Paolo, Franz, and Jalen Suggs. And he's a plus defender, so he's not going to be a liability out there. So it still fits within their team identity. The Sixers are another one. Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, if they miss on Paul George, now you don't have to give a max to Paul George. Mm-hmm. Now you bring in Klay Thompson, and you can fill out your roster with other impactful role players to now have more depth on the roster instead of being star heavy. Third is OKC. I think Josh Giddey is going to be replaced. Klay Thompson is an easy replacement in that starting lineup for Josh Giddey. Now you have SGA, Lou Dort, Klay, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. I do think there's potential for OKC to target a center, but I think the style of basketball they want to play is 5 out. And Chet Holmgren is perfect for that. And I don't think he should move to power forward. I think you maximize him by keeping him at center, and he's open to playing at center. That's what he wants to play. So I think that would be perfect for Klay Thompson to go there, and he can compete for a championship if he goes to OKC. Then it's the Dallas Mavericks. I think you help Dallas by now offering a threat off the ball. Mm-hmm. It now adds movement to an offense
that's a great
that can, for some stretches, the ball can stop. There's a lot of ISO. Klay Thompson, now you can have him running around. He can be a threat, and it takes more pressure off of Luka, Kyrie. But now Klay Thompson, I understand he played with Steph Curry. The amount of open shots you're going to get when you play with Luka and Kyrie, as great as Steph is, I think he'll get even more open shots with those two. He won't get as many open shots as he did when he played with KD and Steph.
Yeah.
But these past couple of years with just Steph, I think he'll get more open looks, and he's a plus defender. Derrick Jones Jr. is a free agent, so if they can fill up that spot with Klay and you have Kyrie, Luka, Klay, PJ, Gafford, or Lively starting, I think that's a really good lineup that potentially can go back to the finals if they make a move like that. And the last team is just the Sacramento Kings. Reuniting with Mike Brown. They need shooting. They're going to lose Malik Monk most definitely because I think a team will offer him more than $17.5 million, which is the max that Sacramento can offer him.
Why is it that that's the max that they can offer him?
Because the deal they initially signed Malik Monk to was a It was like a minimum deal.
So because of that, they lose the ability to give him the money he deserves.
I think maybe you can only go like a percentage over. Like you can only give like 140% more of the previous contract.
But other teams can give way more than that.
I guess if they have the cap space too.
That's bullshit.
But I don't know, because also you would have bird rights, but I guess it's just a max deal.
So
because
this
you
is,
hit a lick on a good contract, you lose in the end.
Yeah, it sucks. This is what it says. Sacramento is limited in what they can offer the 26-year-old in free agency due to the collective bargaining agreement rules, meaning another team will be able to swoop in with an offer larger than the Kings' 4-year, $78 million limit.
That's bullshit. Honestly,
whack.
that's a good contract.
That's solid.
4-year, $78 million? Yeah,
20 a year.
That's the max that Sacramento can offer Malik Monk.
I would offer him that contract right
That's
there.
$19.5 million.
That's the easiest deal I would ever offer a player.
But if Tyler Hero got $30 million, I think Malik Monk can get like $25-30 million.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Tyler Hero. Unfortunately, that contract looked like poop.
The Pistons could give him that. The Spurs can give him that.
I don't think he goes to a butt team. No. I'm not saying the Spurs are butt.
We're talking about the
yes,
Pistons.
the Pistons.
Sorry, the Pistons. Yeah,
Come on, I think he respects himself.